Welcome back to the Preservation Tree YouTube channel. I'm David, and today we're going to do a very quick video on emergency kit bags. So first of all, we'll cover the container or the bag itself. Here we've got the Harkey emergency kit bag. It's reasonably heavy duty. It has shoulder straps, so it's ideal for those working in remote areas. So potentially those working in utilities, rail, working on the waterways, etc. We tend to work fairly close to our vehicles, so we haven't got lots of trekking with our equipment. But it does mean that we have one central point where we've got everything, so we can carry it out onto a site and we know that we've got everything to deal with an emergency. So let's go through what we've got. Generally speaking, when we have an emergency, the first thing we're going to do is actually stop work. So what we do is we have an air horn, and this is a very good way of attracting attention but also notifying people to stop work. From that then we obviously carry a 2 kilogram fire extinguisher. This is a dry powder ABC fire extinguisher. Now very much comes down to risk assessment in terms of what fires you might come across, and that will then inform which fire extinguisher you use. So there's plenty of references out there on YouTube for that. We then move on to our first aid. Now, it goes without saying we need first aid kits available to us on site. Our first one is what I would consider a boo-boo kit. Now, this is for our minor injuries, our silky cuts, our splinters, those sorts of things. All of our first aid and trauma kits, we keep the expiry date on the outside just with a piece of sellotape and a black marker pen, and we keep them sealed. That way, if anyone does go into them, when we re-audit, we can make sure at a very quick note that everything is where it should be and it hasn't been opened. If the seal is broken, we can then investigate and find out what we need to replace. But it's very important to make sure that if something does get used, it does get restocked. Right. So as I say, boo kit not really suitable for our daily trauma kit. Right. That's why we keep a trauma kit separately. Again, sealed with a date on it. And what we have in there is things like our tourniquets, our Celox Rapid, our emergency bandages, SAM splints, resusci-aids, etc. We also keep cutting tools in there, so we've got a rescue hook, we've got shears that will deal with things like Dyneema and Kevlar. Very important to make sure that we've got our trauma kits, and we do actually keep multiple trauma kits. So when we're out working, we have trauma kits on our harnesses. On my felling belt, I also keep a trauma kit, because essentially, when it comes to catastrophic bleeds in particular, we need to be on that straight away. There is a high chance that if you haven't got a trauma kit with you, that you may fall unconscious from an arterial bleed before you actually reach your trauma kit. So keep a trauma kit close to hand. I cannot stress that enough. It is so important. Moving on from that, we then have an eye wash kit. Eye wash kit contains saline, and it contains multiple eye bandages. So things like wood chippers and sawdust, we've got lots of flying debris, as well as things like leaf blowers and even sharpening. I've ended up in the eye hospital a few times just through sharpening and getting iron filings, particularly when you're in a workshop with not the greatest light, getting nice and close to your chain to get a good edge on it. Ultimately, learn the lesson, and I tend to wear glasses now. So moving on from that, we also have Wonder Wipes. We keep our Wonder Wipes for multiple reasons, but generally it's in case we've got diesel or chain oil everywhere, either on ourselves, on the vehicle, or on equipment. We can wipe it down and deal with any spillages fairly easily. On the subject of spillages, for major spillages, we have a spill kit. A spill kit must be appropriate to the amount of fuel or chemicals that you're dealing with. So if you're carrying 20-litre jerry cans on a daily basis, you should have a spill kit that can deal with 20 litres worth of fuel. We tend to only deal with about 10 litres of fuel, so two steel combi cans, and those combi cans contain 5 litres of fuel each and 3 litres of chain oil. Ultimately, it's very unlikely that we're going to spill 2 cans at the same time, so a 15-litre kit is what we've opted for. One thing that gets overlooked quite frequently with spill kits is PPE that's needed to deal with a spillage. We shouldn't really be going in barehanded and dealing with chemicals. So what we do have is we have a pack of chemical resistant gauntlets, and we also have some goggles in there to protect our eyes. Inside the kit bag we have a first aid manual, and we also have a spill kit manual that describes how, in the 9-step procedure, how to deal with spillages. So there we go, that's our emergency kit bag. Like I say, everything goes into this kit bag, comes out with us on site anywhere we are. If you have any questions or you have any ideas of things that we could include in the kit, drop us a comment in the comments section below, and please do like and subscribe, and we'll see you again in the next video. Cheers.